Hello. Let's do a tidy little dagger, like, you know, a little bit broken, some loose hilt, maybe a little bit of foliage behind it. Might speed up a couple of bits because trying to cut this is going to be an absolute nightmare. I'll show you how I set my palette. This is basically A4 in Procreate. If you go to the plus at the top, you have A4 here, click that, boom, you have an A4. Now I made one earlier anyway because, you know, I planned out some layers for you. So usually I'll start by putting down a paper texture layer. Now that helps me a lot, God knows why. I think it just, the grain against the pencil just looks and feels a lot better. Plus it dulls the white, so it's not so strenuous to look at after a while. And then I lock that layer. Now you want your reference, so let's say your customer sent you some drawing. Make sure you ask if they took it in the mirror or not. The amount of times I've drawn these things backwards. So I line that up, alright? Line that up in the middle of the screen, there we go. Now usually, just to help, make that really, the opacity right down so you can just about see it. Right, so let's lock that. Alright, so lock your reference layer. Let's go to sketch. Right, so drawing a dagger. So let's start with some symmetry. So you go to the little spanner at the top left, turn on drawing guide. Okay, edit drawing guide, symmetry. Now place that, I mean, I usually leave it in the middle and move the photo around, but you can place that in the middle of the forearm, wherever you want to be, whatever you're tattooing. And if it's not symmetrical, obviously you don't need to use it. So we're in our sketch. Now, pencil. In the sketch, in the drawing tab, I'll take the eagle hawk. That's what I like to sketch with. So a bit thicker, it's a bit more fluid, you can draw, make up ideas. So I think that's how I like to do it. Alright, cool. Now everything that's not symmetrical, I'm going to turn off the drawing layer. Keep it all in the same layer, may as well. You've done your base sketch. Now, you go on the next layer. I've named better sketch. You're basically going to go over it with a smaller pencil, refine it, make it sharp, make it neat, because it will help you in the long run. So let's do that. And I usually use for this, I'll start using the peppermint. So let's go into that. Let's do the better sketch. You have to excuse my iPad, it's 4 years old, I could do with an update. Now, don't worry about the non-symmetrical parts that you've drawn. You can, once you've done these lines, just do them all to the actual main body, and then we'll turn that off and rub them out and draw the loose hilt on. So you want to draw a straight line in this. The rest of them I didn't use it because they're only small and I'm only sketching this out. But if you want to draw a straight line, in case you didn't know, draw a line, hold it for a second, it snaps to a straight line. There we go. Easy as that. Right, that's the main body. Now we're going to turn off the symmetry layer and we're going to draw in the non-symmetrical parts. What you can also do, in case you're worried about not having to go back and go over the symmetrical parts, you can duplicate the sketch layer and hide it. I do that a lot. If I do something technical and I need to rub bits out to do non-symmetrical parts, or I've got an idea for a part that I can add over the top, like, I don't know, some kind of emblem over the top of armor, or I don't know, something like that. I'm always duplicate the first round of the sketch and hide it, and then if I don't like the new part I've added, I can go back to the sketch before. I guess this is the fun part now. Now you get to shade it. Now in the shading, lock the layer before. In the shading, I'll refine it even more so on the lines. Like I'll go into tight areas, stuff like that. So let's make the shading, and take your time on the shading, because the better your sketch is, the easier the tattoo will be. If you've got something perfect to follow, your tattoo will be 1,000 times easier. So take your time on the sketch, you know, or at least make sure it's roughly exactly the right gradients and the right shades you want to use in the actual tattoo. Always have the symmetry function off for this, because I like harsh lighting. A lot of my work I put in like lighting, most of the time it seems to be from the top left. If it was up here, like, boom, boom. In fact, that's not a bad idea. You can even draw where the light's coming from, and that'll give you a good idea of where to put your shade, and if you need anything harsh. If anything's got its like full face towards the sun, or like an edge has, I'll fade that off behind. Whereas, you know, like that's obviously got fade out because it's in a curve. But this, for example, this would have a more solid, flat shadow. Dramatic. But then again, it doesn't always have to be real. You know, this is just a tattoo. Whatever works and whatever looks good, as long as it makes sense, loosely makes sense, then you're all right. Just remember, this is a sketch for a tattoo, so don't blow your head off trying to get this perfect. Like, you just want to make sure there's enough here for you to reference from when you're tattooing. It'll just make your life a hell of a lot easier. You've got to think about, and this is another little tip to make stuff really pop, is bevels. I see a lot of people nowadays shading and leaving like some weird little gap near the line. You can go into the line, you're not going to damage the person. You know, obviously think about your overworking, how much you are working the skin, but you can go into the line. But sometimes it's really nice. If our light's hitting an area, it's really nice to leave a small gap to put some white in, because nothing in real life has a straight corner. Everything's beveled to a point. Even the sharpest edge of concrete will have the smallest bevel. So if you look at it a certain way in sunlight, you'll see like it picks up a bit of light all the time. So sometimes it's nice to put that in your tattoos. Don't go mad on it. Like, I'm not going to put it in the hilt on this, but in this here little bit of handle, if I leave a little bit of white there, it will separate the handle from the hilt. Same with the top of this. I'll leave a little bit here. You'll see it more when I put the white in, but you'll see it there. Cool. Shading is done. So now, what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to add, I like dusting over the top of this. So I go for a bamboo chalk, let me just bring it up again, bamboo chalk, and I turn that up quite high, and I literally, so let me put this in a new layer, I literally just get that and bring it all over. And you'll see why in a minute. I think like separating some of the lighter highlights is good. Sometimes you can change the opacity if you've got too much. I'll go about there. Right, now we'll do the white. So obviously make sure all the other layers are locked so you're not accidentally drawing them. And white, you just add the white to all the areas you purposely left out. It doesn't have to be, say it again, it doesn't have to be all of them, but the ones that will catch the light. Don't go crazy with white. Like, you can overdo it with white. Like, you don't need to go mad. It's just some of the areas. But sometimes I've started going crazy with white, and then you look back at the rest of the tattoo and realise, shit, I need to add white everywhere. You don't need to do that. Cool, there we have it. That's ready to go. Now we can line that in a sec, but before we line it, I'm gonna have a bit of fun with the details, because, you know, if you've got time, then why the flip not? Make another layer, let's call this details. Alright, you just get your black out and just go crazy on it, man. Get the peppermint pen, turn it down, just add some cracks. Little cracks here and there, just give it some life. This is old Dagger. You want this Dagger, you want this Dagger to look like it has a backstory. It's got to look fun. You could tell someone about its origins, where it was found, how it's 4 million years old and it was buried beneath the ashes of a volcano, unearthed only to be used to save the world again. You know, some bullshit like that. Crazy with the things, yes, yeah. A couple of bits through here. You could definitely add this into the tattoo as well, 100%. I'll add a couple of white highlights to them. Now we have to make the opacity of everything. Make the opacity of everything light, so you can see what you're doing with your draw over. Just bring that down. Down, 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 And now, black. Now this is important, you get this right. This bit you've got to take time on. You're following these lines in the tattoo. You want them to look good. I go inking, technical pen 1. I think I've added a bit more stabilization to mine. So it's the same pen, duplicated with a bit more stabilization, so you still got the original. Right, so. Little tip for you, when you're drawing big arching lines like this, always stop at cross section, so where a line meets another line. There you can get away with restarting a line. Same goes for tattooing as well. It's one thing I found. There we go. The lines are all done. So I appreciate everyone who tuned in this time to see me draw this. I will do some more. Do maybe a couple a month, all different things. And yeah, hope you have a good time. Please like, subscribe, comment. And if you get any other ideas for any other videos I could do, drop me a DM on Instagram, drop me an email, drop me a comment here. Do whatever, I don't mind. Just hope that this has inspired you and helped you with some useful tips. And I will see you again soon. I thank you very much.